Good day, everyone. This is Piney Needles, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO and here at DDO Players. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Draculetta.
Hey, everybody, and I just have one statement to make. Ravenloft is a Pokemon free zone, so don't Pokemon Go here. That's all I'm saying.
That's all you're saying.
Just wanted to put that out there.
You just wanted to put that up there, and I've heard one or two references to Pokemon Go over the weekend, but I have a feeling that I still haven't completely come to an understanding of exactly what it is, and maybe it's better that way.
Yes, very much so. You're better off for not knowing, finally.
Yes, and Pokemon is one of those free-to-play mobile games or something like that?
Yes, it is. And I see what you did there.
Yes. So that's the reason for the layoffs?
It could be. We'll just blame it on Pokemon.
Blame it on Pokemon, yes.
Yes, unfortunately, everybody has heard by now that Turbine was hit with some layoffs. The news broke on this on Thursday afternoon, actually. There was a cryptic tweet, actually, that went out by former Lotro community manager Rick Sapiens Heaton. He originally tweeted out thoughts with the hashtag Turbine, hashtag DDO, and hashtag Lotro Peeps today. If I can help, let me know. Well, of course, that got the rumor mill swirling. You know, it's like, what's going on? You know, did Turbine close? You know, were there layoffs? What's happening? Well, a lot of people were asking him, those questions, and then he finally said, looks like there was layoffs, no idea how many are from what teams. It just saddens me to see my friends out of work. So when I seen that, I decided, okay, I'm going to go straight to the source. So I sent some emails to Turbine and also to Warner Brothers, and I finally, late in the afternoon, got a response back from the Warner Brothers press department. And the email statement they gave me was this. Quote, Turbine is transitioning into a free-to-play mobile development studio. As a result, we are eliminating some positions. The Lord of the Rings Online and Dungeons & Dragons Online games will continue to operate as they do now. Refocusing and reducing the studio size was a difficult decision for the company, and we are grateful to all of the Turbine staff for their considerable contributions. And we just want to say we here to hope that everybody that was affected by this will find new employment soon, because we all know how talented you guys are. So I would say another studio will snap you up, whoever it might be, because we do not know. Because as we know, Turbine does not discuss such matters. But Cordovan, on his Friday at noon stream that he does now, did address this at the beginning of his stream, because, of course, this happened on Thursday, so Friday, this was the first opportunity anybody, really had to talk to him one-on-one, and he was just inundated with questions about this, so he decided to start his stream out, and this is what Cordovan had to say.
Let me take a little pause at the very start to try to speak about that elephant back there. So there were some business things that happened yesterday, and DDO and in the studio. I can't discuss them. I apologize, but I am not permitted to discuss such things. Things like personnel matters are not things that we typically discuss with the community, even though we understand that you guys get to know us as, friends, family in some ways. Really can't talk about that kind of thing. So all I can really say is point to the news articles where there is an official statement from Warner Brothers. I would add that none of our development plans for Dungeons & Dragons Online have changed. They have not changed. Everything that we were planning to do, we're still planning to do. We're on target there. So, I know there's a lot of concerns out there about, oh my god, what does this mean? All I can really say is that we can't comment. We do appreciate your well wishes. We are going to be operating Dungeons & Dragons Online as we have been, and none of our development plans have changed. Other than that, really can't talk about it. Although I can say one thing which just involves me. So, I'm going to be doing some work both for Dungeons & Dragons Online and at least short-term for Lord of the Rings Online as well. So that just means I'm going to have to try to balance 2 Twitch streams, 2 YouTube channels, 2 Twitter feeds, Facebook feeds, forums, websites, what have you. So, frankly, I'm going to be a little busy. But it's a challenge I think I can do. Frankly, I did it before, right? Because, I mean, if you think about, I've been with the company now 5.5 years or so, and, a little over 5.5 years, and for most of that time, I've been working on both DDO and Lotro. Did you know? A lot of people sort of assumed that I was only a DDO guy, and despite the fact that it really hasn't been the case except for, the last 2 years here? So, probably nothing really is going to change on your end. I'm frankly going to be a little busier, though. May not be able to hang out as much because I'm going to be having to balance both games for a little while. So that's what's going on there. But if you're live streaming, we'd still like to get you live streaming. We still have room on the Twitch calendar. Operate the forums. None of that stuff's changing. It's all there. And that's all I can say.
So there you have it, straight from Cordovan's mouth himself. And, as we know, we've been through these layoffs before, and the game is still here. We've been here 10 years. Pretty sure the game is still going to be here, so we'll be fine, I think. The sky is not falling. The world is not ending. We'll be okay. Be it, we may or may not have less people working on the game now, but the game will still be there.
Well, let's face it. Technically, Asherton's Call is still there, but
it is. Yes, Ashman's Call is still around. You can still hop on and play that anytime you want. So yeah. But once again, we do wish anybody that was affected by this the best wishes, and we hope they can find some employment soon.
Then let's head into other news. I was going to say better news, but when it comes to Kenneth Crafting...
yeah. Oh, Kenneth Crafting.
What's going on with that?
Well, as we all know, I'm not a crafter. I will probably never be a crafter, but we'll see after these changes. No Worries did give a little update over on the forums about what they're going to do with Kenneth Crafting. He says, quote, I know players have been awaiting more information on the Kenneth Crafting revamp. So without further ado, let's jump right in. He says all items created with old Kenneth Crafting will remain as is when the new system goes in. However, all of the old recipes will be gone at that time. So we're going to get all new recipes. And also, Kenneth Crafting will be broken down into just a single school. Currently, the working title for that is Kenneth. I wonder how long it took them to come up with that title. The school will have a level cap of 400, and all of your XP will carry over from the original 3 schools of crafting. The lower levels of the schools have had their XP curve adjusted. Here are some XP values for getting to different levels in the new school, and keep in mind this could change before launch. This is just what they're working on currently right now. Level 50, you're going to need 1,256 experience. Level 100, 7,313. Level 150, 30,151. And level 260, you're going to need 245,580. And to hit the level 400 crafting cap, say that a couple times fast, you're going to need 650,040 experience. So good luck on the old crafting grind. But they did say all of your XP will carry over. And I know that was one thing people, when they first announced this, people were worried about that they were going to have to start all over. But that is not going to be the case. They are also going to add some new exclusive effects that you can craft onto your weapons. And some of those, for example, are going to be Vorpal, Paralyzing, Banishing, Smiting, and Ghostbane. And the astute among you might be saying, Ghostbane? What? Yes, it's being re-added back into the system again, and it's also going to be added into the random loot system as well.
What?
Yeah, so we can finally maybe get Ghostbane weapons again. So that's just a quick overview. There is a pretty long thread on this. You can see it. Like I said, I'm not a crafter, so I can't really speak to any of this. I'm trying to get Lessa on the show. She keeps dodging me, but I'm going to get her because she is the one that can speak of this. She is the crafter of all crafters. So, Lessa, we need you. You are our only hope. But yeah, hop over on the forum, and this will be linked in the show notes, and you can read this thread and see what they're thinking about doing. But keep in mind, all this could be subject to change because this is just what they're working on. I guess we'll get a first look at this whenever Lamania comes up, whenever that might be. And Ninth Pond in the chat is saying, simplifying the crafting process. How dare they? They're messing everything. Oh, wait a minute. That's not such a bad idea.
But are they really making it?
I agree, sir. I agree.
Let's then head into the DDO Chronicle, issue 196. And what room is this?
That is the art gallery in the one No More Quest. Why did I just forget the name of it? The one with the golem, the one everything animates. I can't for the life of me think of the name of the quest.
Oh, where everything animates.
Yeah, we did it, but for some reason,
Good Intentions?
Good Intentions. There you go. That's it. That is what our Chronicle header is this week. The Art Gallery and Good Intentions, where, spoiler alert, all that comes alive other than the statues. I was kind of hoping the statues would come alive too, but maybe it's just me. In the Community Spotlight section of our Chronicle, the DDO Character Planner has been updated, so click over and make sure you're grabbing the new version of that if you plan on using that to create your character. The DDO Cocktail Hour recently had their 100th episode, and on that episode, they had none other than Mr. Keith Baker. So they did a little interview with that. I haven't actually listened to the whole thing yet, but my favorite part about it is hearing Lessa actually being silenced for once. She was so surprised. She had no idea he was going to be there. Lessa was speechless, I think, for the first time in her life. So click over and listen to Lessa being speechless. It doesn't happen often. In the Fansite News section of our Chronicle, DDO Cast is continuing their look at the best spells to use. This time up is Artificers and Bards. Damsels of DDO run the Mask of Deception. So click over and hear what those girls were up to, being very deceptive with Mask. And also, Even Note continues her search for one of the rarest items in DDO. The Gibber's Blade search continues for Even Note, so click over and read her blog entry on that. And our Chronicle comment question of the week. Are you ready, Pyleaf?
Okay.
The party is not over until the bard blinks.
Passes out.
Good answer. My answer is kind of a joke. Some people might get it if you've seen Gamers, but my answer is the party's not over until the bard dies and forms a dead pile of bards. If you've seen Gamers Darkness Rising, you're laughing right now.
If you say so.
And that is it for our Chronicle this week.
Then let us head into our store sales for this week. And what's on sale?
25% off True Hearts of Wood, Lesser Hearts of Wood, Quest XP Elixirs, healing items, and the Spell Point Potions. Our free sample of the week through July 14th is the Greater Remove Negative Level Potion. Coupon code for that is RMVNLVL. 1 coupon per account. So as I always say, choose wisely.
Choose wisely. All right. So what is from the dungeon this week? Let's look at DDO Player's Pathfinder role-playing game, Ultimate Entry Companion Review.
we talked about this, probably a month ago, maybe, that there was a new sourcebook coming out for the Pathfinder RPG, and it was Ultimate Intrigue. It is now out and available, and we took a look at it and reviewed it. It is a 253-page hardcover book. There is 6 chapters in it. And, of course, I think the highlight of the book is the new Vigilante class. And they say the Vigilante is skilled at negotiating delicate social situations and courtly intrigue, but they can also serve as a stealthy spy or even brutish warriors. So that was, as I said in the review, that was, I think, pretty much my favorite part of the book was that class. There is so much, I think, you can do with that class, and there's so many different ways you can play it.
Hello?
Vigilante will be proficient with all simple and martial weapons, light and medium armor, and can also use shields. The interesting thing about the Vigilante is they can have dual identities. So they can hide their true identity while projecting an image of someone else with a different persona. And while you're doing that, you are allowed to have dual alignments as well. So you can be good with one alignment and evil with another alignment if you want to. And that will give you new skills and spells to play with depending on which persona you're using at the time. So that's kind of interesting. So that would be a fun class to play, I think. And then we get, some new weapons, new skills, new spells, all of the fun stuff. And you can read the full review over at ddoplayers.com. But we want to thank Paizo for sending over a copy of this book so I could take a look at it and review it for you guys.
All right. And then let's see what's on the tabletop, where Evil Dead 2, the official board game, is now on Kickstarter.
It is. We told you it was coming, and I do believe I said as soon as this Kickstarter launches, it's going to fund. And you want to take a guess what happened?
Well, based on your prediction, I assume it got funded.
Yeah, it funded within hours. I think it was like 2 hours, 3 hours.
That long?
Yeah. It actually took a little longer than I thought it was going to, but yes. But yes, you still have 29 days to get in on this and get in on the Evil Dead 2, the official board game. And, of course, if you don't remember us talking about this, it is a brand new tile and miniatures-based survival horror game for 2 to 6 players, and it is based, of course, on the classic Evil Dead 2 movie. So you can play Ash and take on the Evil Dead. And once again, I said 29 days left. They are well over their goal, so they are working on those all-important stretch goals. And those are falling fairly quickly as well, too.
Right. Now, with all of these games that you're getting from Kickstarter, don't you need a bag in order to carry them?
You do, and I have the perfect bag for you. Well, I don't have it, actually, but you can go over on Kickstarter and get the perfect bag.
Aha!
That would be the Game Night Bag from Gatekeeper Games. They launched a Kickstarter, and the nice thing about this Kickstarter is it is a very fast-moving Kickstarter. It is only 12 days long. They are currently on day number 6, so they're halfway there. It is funded. These are bags that are big enough to hold at least 6 games. They are approximately 15-inch tall, 13-inch wide, and about 10 inches thick. They will hold 4 to 5 big box games and with a little bit of room, and they can support 35 pounds. So that should handle most of your games that are out today. And the other great thing about these bags is if you're going to a convention, you can take these and put all of your brand new games that you buy into these bags.
Woo!
And as I said, this funded fairly quickly either. And the other great thing about these bags is they start at $7.
Oh, that's not bad.
It is not bad at all for them. Plus shipping, of course, unless you're going to Gen Con. And if you're going to Gen Con, you can choose the pick up a Gen Con option and pick it up at the convention and then fill it up with swag on your way out. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. And once again, this is from the fine folks over at Gatekeeper Games. So look for those coming in 6 days.
All right. So if you're looking for a new bag for your games, head over to the Kickstarter. So let's then head into Dastardly Dirigible Steampunk Airship Deck Building Game, now available from Fireside. That's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful, and I'm pretty impressed that you did that all in one breath, too. So, well done.
And obviously it involves racing dirigibles or something like that. The title of it reminds me of the Wacky Races.
You know, I thought about that too. I'm glad I'm not the only one that thought that when I saw the title of this game. And you're kind of close. You don't race them, you build them.
Oh, you're trying to build.
You are building a airship. This is a brand new deck building game from Fireside Games. What it boils down to is Professor Phineas Edmund Hornswoggle is retiring, and he needs somebody to take over his airship business. So you are competing against 2 to 5 other players to build the best airship, and you have 3 rounds to do it in, and the winner will inherit the business. The fun part about this game, though, is if I play, let's say I play the lift engine card on my airship, all other players have to play a lift engine card in their hand as well. So that leads to some interesting things that can happen. You can really screw people over if you want to, because you must play the same card that anybody else plays on their airship.
Sort of like following suit in a bridge game.
Yes, that's exactly what it is, because the cards are actually suited.
Okay.
Funny you mentioned that. They're not actually suited as playing cards, but there is suits on the cards. So, yes. So, yeah, this is available now, once again, from Fireside Games. And a little insider baseball for you. If you're listening live to the show right now, tomorrow morning, which would be Tuesday at 10 a.m. on DDOplayers.com, we are going to have a review of this game that will be posted. If you're listening to this on the podcast version, the review's already up, so go read it if you want to find out more about Dastardly Dirigibles from our friends over at Fireside Games.
Whew. So then let's head into the Silver Clutch Games game, Takes Us Beneath the Nexus. What Nexus?
See, the story is, Pine Leaf, thousands of years ago. Okay,
thousands of years ago.
Stay with me here. The city fell into darkness and was forgotten. But now it is rediscovered, drawing heroes and adventures from across the world. You are one of those heroes, and you will discover what secrets lie beneath the Nexus.
Ooh.
Insert dramatic evil laugh and music here. This is the first game from Silver Clutch Games, and it is, of course, as you said, Beneath the Nexus. It is a dungeon crawling game set for 4 to 6 players. It's easy to learn, but tough to master. It is not an easy game to play or win. The thing is, one of the people you're playing with is playing the Blight Lord, who is the evil big boss that is trying to mess up the other players and stop them from crawling through the Nexus dungeon and discovering what lies in the Nexus.
Now, is this team versus one, or is this cooperative with a hidden...
It's not hidden.
It's not a hidden answer.
You know who the Blight Lord is. No.
Oh, okay.
So it's everybody against the Blight Lord against everybody else.
All
and
right.
Silver Clutch is going to launch a Kickstarter campaign for this coming up the first week of August. Right now is the tentative date for that. It's going to be available on the Kickstarter page when that launches for $35. And then after the campaign is over, the retail version will be out at $39.99. And you can also get a PDF print-to-play version right now, if you want to check this out yourself, over on Drive-Thru Cards for just $5. So if you want to print this out and check it out, you can do that. And also the nice thing about the print-to-play version, they also give you the Tabletop Simulator files, so you can actually create this in Tabletop Simulator if you would like as well.
All right, that'll be useful, because print-to-play, and I don't know, I don't have the high-end printer in order to really do well in print to play?
Yeah, I've looked at a couple, and I seriously considered doing a couple of them, and then I was just like, nah. I'll just wait for a retail version or something, because, yeah, I don't know, I guess.
Yeah.
But I do know people that do print to play all the time, and they love doing it, so.
Yeah. I have done it for games where the components, where you don't need top quality opponents in order to enjoy the game, because if it's just a map and you take a few components that you already have, like dice or something like that, fine. But if it's a full deck of cards, I'm not going to. That's why when I was checking out One Deck Dungeon, I did not print out the print play one. I played it a couple of times on Tabletop Simulator, but I'm probably going to not do any serious play of it until my copy comes in through the mail, whenever that finally gets all through and done. So let's then head into Iron Maiden, Legacy of the Beast, which is now available on iOS and Android. And I'm not too familiar with Iron Maiden, but I presume that's
I was so hoping you were going to say that. I was
You're so hoping I was going to say that.
Iron Maiden is one of the most classic metal bands ever, Piney.
Okay, I guess that explains the font that's being used here, because that does, because I think I have vaguely heard of the metal band, but then I assume that I guess I didn't think about metal bands with tabletop games.
Why wouldn't Iron Maiden have a game, Pine Leaf? It's metal. It's metal to have a game.
It's metal to have a game.
In the game, Iron Maiden, Legacy of the Beast. This is one of those free-to-play mobile games we were discussing earlier. Maiden's psychotic zombie mascots, also known as Eddie. You are playing Eddie, and you are going through various moments in the history of both mankind and the band itself. This will pit Eddie against a series of characters from Maiden's artwork and songs. And, of course, you will get all sorts of weapons and powers derived from the band's music and also history. So, see, you learn metal and you learn history, Pineleaf. What could be better?
Uh-huh.
And yes, Brack Barefeet in the chat is pointing out that they have made Iron Maiden games before, and you are correct. Iron Maiden does have a game out already, but not an iOS or Android mobile game. And this is one of those free-to-play games. I have not actually checked this out yet. I've been meaning to download this, but I just haven't got around to doing it. So I don't know how... I'm trying to think of the best way I want to word this is. How free-to-play mobile it is, I'll put it that way. If you've ever played a free-to-play mobile game, you'll know what I'm saying when I say that. So, I don't know if it's one of them. It's like, here, buy this to have extra rounds. Here, buy this to have this uber sword. So, I don't know. From what I've read about it, this game is not like this. But I gotta say, the graphics for it just look sweet, and they look very metal. I love Iron Maiden. So, rock on. This is awesome. And who doesn't want to be Eddie? I mean, come on, let's just be honest.
I think I'll refrain from answering that. And let's head into our week in gaming. Drac, what have you been up to?
What haven't I been up to is the proper question that you want to ask, Pineleaf. I did a lot this week, actually. I was playing like crazy over on Kenneth, my level 8 rogue that I'm running with my friend, who is a wizard. We headed out to the Searing Heights because we started... Excuse me, hold on one second. Sorry about that, had to cough. We headed out into the Searing Heights. We are starting the Sentinels of Stormreach quest line. So, of course, the first quest in that line is the Bargain of Blood. So, as we hopped out into Searing Heights, he had never been out there yet. So we ran around and we were doing the Explorers, the Rares, and the Slayers. And, of course, we had my wonderful RNG luck and couldn't hardly find any Rares. But that shouldn't shock anybody among us whatsoever. So we'll have to go back out there and try to find the rest of the Rares. And we have a couple Explorers left to do, too. But we finally did manage to make our way to the Bargain of Blood. And we decided, let's do it on Elite. What's the worst that can happen?
What's the worst that can happen? Isn't that tempting fate?
You would be correct. We actually were okay other than the blade traps that are in there, because at level 8 on Elite, I couldn't find the control boxes. So we had a TPK because the blades just totally wiped us out. So, yeah. So we went back in on hard and didn't have any problems at all because I could actually find the trap boxes. I knew where most of the trap boxes are. There was a couple that I forgot. I looked on the wiki to find out where they were. But it's like I kept telling him, I'm like, dude, I know there's a trap box here, but I can't see it. The DC must be insane on Elite. So, yeah, lesson learned. I have to up my game if we're going to run on Elite. So, there you have it. But, yeah, we finished on hard. No problems at all. So, we will continue on with the Sentinels quest line at some point this week. And then my Ranger, who is my level 7 Gnome Ranger, that I'm running in the all-Gnome static group with Mythery, Subajade, and Rent. I hit 200 total favor. As a group, we ran on Elite, of course, because when you run with Subajade, you have to run stuff on Elite. That's the rules. We did Mystery of Dalera's Tomb and the Missing Party. So we're running through the Dalera's Tomb chain. And then we decided our homework was going to be, we started at 7. By the time we play in 2 weeks, because we play every other week, we play on non-damsels weeks, we have to be level 9. So I was running quest like a madman. I ran most of the harbor quest, almost all of the harbor quest, basically, on Elite. I did Walk the Butcher's Path, Hazardel Shipment, Cobalt's New Ringleader, Garrison's Missing Pack, Dirk's Got a Secret, Breaking the Light, Cobalt Assaults, Harbor Dasher, Information is Key, and the Captives.
Whee!
And then I hopped into the Waterworks, did the Waterworks on Elite. Of course, that is Clan Gnashtooth, Rescuing Arlos, Clan Tunnelworm, and Ven's Fate. So I did that. I did level. I didn't take my level yet. I'm holding my level, so I'm level probably 8.5 at this point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till I know for sure that I have enough to get 9, and then I will go ahead and take 9. And then I'll be all set for next week. And then, of course, we ran some stuff last Wednesday. I'll let you talk about that. I did play some tabletop this week as well. Had a chance to play some older tabletop games with my friend, who was actually the same one that I'm running through the Sentinels of Stormreach questline with. He has this thing about buying old board games. It's just like his thing for some reason, which we all need a thing, so it's cool. That's fine. So we played League of Pirates in Key Largo. League of Pirates is a really interesting game. It has a really interesting mechanic that is good and is also really bad, if that makes sense to you. The mechanic is to decide who goes on a turn. You roll six-sided dice, Yahtzee style. You're trying to get a 1, 2, and 3, and you have up to 3 rolls to do that. And then if you get your 1, 2, and 3, your other dice you add up, and then whoever has the higher total of those 2 dice actually gets to take their action that turn. So in theory, and it did actually happen to this a couple times to us, one person could just keep playing and playing and playing, and the other person could not play because they either don't roll a 1, 2, 3, or their other dice that they're adding up are lower than the other person. So it's a crazy mechanic, but it works how the game is designed, so I'll give them that. Strange little game, but fun. And then we did Key Largo, and of course that, if you're not familiar with that, that's a game that came out a couple years ago. It's Asmodee game, and it is a game of ship divers. You are in Key Largo, of course, hence the name, and you have 10 days to make the most money salvaging stuff off of wrecked ships. And you have to decide on your turn. You have a turn that you can play in the morning and a turn you can play in the afternoon. So you have to decide what you're going to do. Are you going to buy equipment? Are you going to sell the stuff you have? Are you going to go to the tavern and try to get more divers so you can actually do more than one dive at a time? So it's an interesting game. I really enjoyed that. And then him and I also played Boss Monster, the actual card version of it. And then I played the digital version of Boss Monster a couple times this week because I'm trying to unlock one of the decks that you can unlock by win count. And wow, is the AI hard in that game. So I'm beating them some of the times, but that's a tough AI.
Is it a good AI, or is it because I know some games the AI gets its toughness through a little bit of cheating.
I think at times they do cheat, and we have to pause here a second because I missed something in chat. Ninthmon said, to give Pine Leaf credit, Iron Maiden did decide to hide both the Goonies and the Labyrinth, or hide in both the Goonies and the Labyrinth movies. So you're forgiven for not knowing Iron Maiden, Pine Leaf.
Okay.
And then the only game I played is, of course, the Dastardly Dirigibles, which was for the review, is going to come out tomorrow, or if you're listening to the podcast, is already out. And then I did play some zombies on Tabletop Simulator. So that was my week in gaming. I was busy. How about you, Pineley? How busy were you?
All right. A little busy. We'll begin with our gnome pair, where I was playing my warlock with Drac, level 8, and we went into House Jarasco for Red Willow's Ruins.
Which, did you ever actually decide if you've done that before? Because the whole reason why we did that is because I talked about it last week, and you had thought you had never done it.
I could not. I think I pretty much concluded that I had not done it before.
Okay. I wondered. I didn't know if you ever finally made the total conclusion that you have or you have not.
Yeah. Then we went to the Vaults of Night, where we ran the Prisoner, Gateway to Khyber, and the Jungle of Khyber. And in the Jungle of Khyber, something weird happened.
I agree. It was weird.
That's right, because normally I'm the one who keeps on dying. And this time, in reverse of every other instance we've ever run, Drac was the one who kept on dying.
And I don't know what the deal was, but yes, I did. I died a lot. For no apparent reason, but I died a lot.
And then at the end, we reached level 9. Whee! Which means I guess we could continue with the Vault of Night, since I think that it's around level 9 now.
Yes, and that was kind of the point that we were doing, because I had said we need to be 9 because I really didn't want to go into the third one at level 8 because reasons.
Very well. Then let's head into my Wolflock, which I created a Wolflock. I think you heard me promise to do so.
You did. I didn't know if you actually did, but
yes, I created the character, and so therefore, first off, okay, right in doing the grotto, I started at level 1.
Of course.
Yeah, Talbrand seemed to have learned to teleport because he was absolutely nowhere near the site when we were fighting the first group of Sahuagin. And then suddenly, when it was time for him to find that key, he popped into the room. So he somehow learned to teleport at some point.
Hold on. You said the magic word finally.
This is a dwarven translation of an elvish word. So it is pronounced Sawajin.
Very well.
New rule. Every time that word is said, that gets played. That is our new Nomageddon. You're welcome.
That's our. And how long is that one going to last?
Until I decide it's not funny anymore. Which will be a while, because it's hilarious.
Very well.
Gotta love Will Wheaton.
Then I ran Hayton's Rest, of course, and halfway through Hayton's Rest, I suddenly discovered one little thing I forgot about, because I'm starting my Wolflock as a druid, naturally enough, and halfway through Hayton's Rest, I suddenly came to realize that I forgot to go into the custom character selection, so I had a default charisma of 8.
Oh! Well, I guess it depends how you're building your Wolflock, actually.
Well,
so,
yeah.
How are you doing it? Are you doing your druids? Well, actually, how are you doing your Wolflock? I guess that would be my first question. Are you doing druid up to a certain point, and then you're going to do your warlock? Are you going to mix them as you go up? Because, see, myself, I did druid up to a certain level because I wanted the Winter Wolf, so I'm doing all druid until 7, and then I'm doing the rest warlock, is how I'm doing mine.
Right. Well, see, obviously it wasn't going to be strictly druid for a long time, seeing how right after finishing Hayton's Rest, I deleted the character.
So that concluded the Wolflock experiment.
No. It did not. I then created a new version of the character using custom.
Gotcha.
This time, making sure that I had sufficient in strength, wisdom, and charisma. So besides that, those would be my 3 most important stats.
Ah, okay.
Then I went back and ran the grotto again. This time, Talbrun acted properly instead of waiting and teleporting. Then Hayton's Rest again, Canis Crystals, Stormhouse's Secret, Collaborator, reached level 2 then did Korthos Island. Then I reached level 3, and at level 3, that's when I took my first Warlock level. So now I'm Druid 2, Warlock 1, and I did Bringing the Light just to warm up a little and test out my Warlock skills briefly before ending the session, so that way I'll have at least a little bit of that before doing it more seriously in my next session.
And do we even have to guess which pact you're in?
Let me see. I am a druid. Yeah, I think you can guess from the fact that I'm a druid and what my usual pact is.
Of course. You need to mix it up, man. Come on.
Well, maybe someday
Challenge
I'll
yourself.
think about that.
Go evil. Evil is fun, Pineland.
Then I went into my Dwarf Warlock and completed part 1 of Temple of Elemental Evil. So I was doing my usual thing for the second week, tried to complete part 1 of the dungeon. I managed to get through Zuggtmoid. Actually, not Zuggtmoid, I mean through the first boss. And I thought I went through that reasonably well. And I don't think I had too much trouble with that fight as far as I can remember. And finally, on the DDO side at least, there was this little thing when discussing in the pre-show and we're looking through the last week in DDO, and I noticed that True Reincarnation items were on sale, so I bought one of those, and I took my level 20 Artificer that we haven't been, actually we did play him once I think during Gnome Work, but outside that I haven't been playing him any, and I turned him into a level 1 monk.
Ooh, your first true reincarnation ever.
Yep. And I ran through the grotto.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. So now I'm on Korthos Village.
Shocking no one.
Those little things. Yes. So now let's see what I have from the tabletop. And I finished up the adventure I was working on, which was the 3rd of the storyline adventures on my Descent Kindred Fire campaign. And after doing that, I decided, okay, a little time for a little break from it. And I've played a few games there. Now, a lot of these things are things that have arrived in the mail this week. So the first of these to arrive this week was Tiny Epic Galaxies, which is, well, you're familiar with, I presume you're familiar with the Tiny Epic series, right?
Yes.
Right. So this is obviously their space version of the game where and so I played that. The first time I played through it, I was being squashed, partly because I didn't know the game very well yet, and partly because I didn't have the hardest of them, but I didn't realize that each of the rogue galaxies, which are on the back of the playmats, were, because the solo game has a rogue galaxy you go against instead of other players, that I was going against the second level one, and of course, you're learning the games, probably, the first level one is usually sufficient for that one. So I pretty much got creamed there. So I tried it again, this time against the beginner opponent, and it came down to a point where I saw this move where I was able to see, all right, if I don't win this turn, I'm going to lose, because I could see where my opponent was poised to win there. And so I pulled out everything I can and somehow managed to barely squeak by a victory on that one. So I guess that means I have to go start working on tougher rogue galaxies, since I'm starting to get the idea how the game goes. Then on Saturday, I decided that, I was expecting to get a package in the mail, which is another game that I got from Kickstarter, and it was scheduled to come on Saturday. So I did not see a package on my doorstep, so I decided to go to my mailbox, since presumably this was going to be small enough to fit in the mailbox. So I go out to my mailbox, pull out a letter from there, and say, okay, yes, I do have a package in there. So I pull in, reach in, pull out the package. Great. They were good, arrived just on time. And I was getting ready to leave, and I said, hold on there. There's another package in there. I reached in, pulled out the package, and that is then the package that I guess the one I was expecting for Monday, since I was expecting another one to arrive on Monday. All right. Then I noticed there was another package in there.
Oh, good grief.
I did it.
How big a mailbox do you have?
This is what's a standard 5x5 mailboxes. So it's not a large mailbox by any stretch of the imagination. But I was beginning to think I had a TARDIS mailbox here.
It's apparently bigger on the inside.
Yes. So I pulled out so I now had 3 packages in there. I said one that I was expecting on Saturday, one that I was expecting on Monday, and one that I didn't recall expecting that one. So we'll see what that's in there. So the one I was expecting on Saturday was Deep Space D6, which has been out on print and play for a couple of years, but this was the professional version of the production version of it. And that's a single player space game. It's sort of a worker placement game, and you're trying to survive all these threats that are coming after you. And in fact, they give you 4 different types of ships. One that's suitable for when you're beginning, so you can learn the game, and then each of them are more complicated. So you could, if you don't know what you're doing with them, you'll get crushed completely. But I presume that if you know how to use them, they could be as effective as the starter ship on there. And I was going through there, and ultimately I got overwhelmed, of course, because it was my first game, and you would expect in a solo game the first time you're playing it that you're going to get ripped to pieces, which is exactly what I did, but it looks like it's a very good game. The second item, the one I was expecting for Monday, was The Nature's Ire, the co-op adventure for Descent. So now I have a full collection of that series. So I'll look into that after I tried these couple other games and have time to get back into Descent. Then the third one, the one that I wasn't expecting, was 11s for One, which is a solo version of the card game 11s. And this was the second fastest fulfillment from a Kickstarter I remember, because the Kickstarter ended less than 2 months ago.
Wow, that is pretty good turnaround then.
Yeah, and there is one that was faster, and that was the Kickstarter was for the mobile version of an existing game. So they're able to, and I had asked for some add-ons, some of the physical copies of the game. The physical copies of the game, I think, arrived less than a month from when the Kickstarter started. So that was a record. So that was for Police Precinct, and hopefully I could get a player Police Precinct done for next week. We'll see if I did that. But the other thing about 11s for One is today I received the email saying we should be shipping your copies of 11s for One soon.
Little slow on the uptake there, people.
Well, yes, TARDIS Mailbox.
Oh, I forgot. That's right.
TARDIS Mailbox, obviously, because and I tried that out. So far, my first 2 plays of that were losses, but it was only by 1 move the second loss. So it means I'm starting to pick up an idea how that game works. And because 11s for One is such a small game, they could not package that one alone. So they also include, Bowling Solitaire as a game with it. So I also played that one. And
Brack Barefeet in our chat is wanting to know, is that a Hobbit game where you eat 11s?
Well, actually, it's not a Hobbit game. Actually, you're the maid trying to prepare the 11s tea for your employer, who's very particular about 11s apparently. So therefore, so it's about preparing 11s for someone. And you could pretend that it's that you're working for a Hobbit, I guess, because yes, that is actually a name of a real thing in the world, of course.
Who knew?
Yeah.
English people, apparently.
Yeah, English people, apparently.
Sorry, England.
So therefore, anyway, Bowling Solitaire, I demonstrated the knack that showed that in order to do well in this game, you have to learn how to make your spares. And because occasionally I get strikes, but I was really bad at making spares. So obviously that's the thing that you got to learn in order to get that game right. But that is my week in gaming.
Well, we both had pretty busy weeks, it sounds like.
Yeah. And we currently have 25 supporters on Patreon. And if you'd like to help support DDO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll Help us to upgrade our cameras so that we can bring you better convention and tabletop play and review coverage. And there you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or if you may guest with us here on DDO Players News. And we have a comment this week from Ted Snyder on DDO Players Tyrants of the Underdark review. And how did that go?
He says, thank you for the review. I had been looking at picking up some of the cooperative play board games like Temple of Elemental Evil based upon descriptions at the WotC website. And I hadn't thought much of this game or the Lords of Waterdeep. But your review makes it look like it would be a lot of fun. Now I have a tough decision to make. Which one to get first?
You can contact us at podcast@ddoplayers.com. You could also follow us at Twitter, the Players Alliance, at Players Ally, DDO Players at DDO Players, Draculetta at Draculetta_72, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles, and you can also join our Steam group. The Players Alliance has 4 live shows. Every Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. Every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Locho Players News. Every other Saturday after Locho Players News, we have Tales of the Free Folk. And on the last Friday of each month at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Locho Academy After School. You can join us for our live shows at ddoplayers.com/live. And that is all for this week. And this is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to quest responsibly.